Hello, everyone. Hi. Being silly. But at the same time, this topic, you would like to think that everybody believes this, but I challenge that. So I'm saying today, you deserve to be healthy. And I know everybody's like, well, duh. Well, you deserve to be healthy. That's why, at least in some countries, I'm not going to say United States because that might be changing. We have food safety laws, and we have laws that protect us with medicine, with the environment, things of that nature. That's health. So you deserve to be healthy. And it's unfortunate that we have to have laws to tell people to treat other people with care and respect. So that's a bigger, I guess, umbrella when it comes to what I mean by this. Now, let me pare it down. You deserve to be healthy, meaning the fact that somebody produces a commercial or an influencer out there telling you to buy a certain product, whether it's healthy or not, they're trying to take away your right to be healthy. I know that's a stretch, but think about it. Okay, so there were, and I guess there's still laws out there. So in the 70s, the FCC, and from what I remember, the FCC is the federal, I forgot the other C's commission, consumer commission. I don't think it's consumer, but it is basically telling media, and at the time in the 70s, that was TV and radio and some film, and a little cable. Cable was starting to come around in the 70s, but there were some regulations about marketing to children under a certain age. Meaning, think of all those like food commercials, the cereal commercials that have cartoon characters on the boxes and things like that. Um, Kids, under a certain age, they don't know the difference between a commercial and the cartoons if they're watching them. They don't know. All they know is like, oh, my cartoon character told me to eat this food, and they want that food, and they'll, pitch fit or whatever until they get that food. So FCC, recognizing the influence that media has on people, small people and bigger people too, um, they required that television shows at the time announced that they are not that they are going to commercial break. Okay. Now I know a lot of people don't know that. I took communications in college, so I do know that. So they were required in the 70s. Say, like, if you were watching, I don't want to, a cartoon or whatever. Some trying to think of something. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't just. It's for all of the commercials. But say if a cartoon you were watching and it had like fanciful animals that talked or whatever, and then the cereal commercial came on that had the animals talking and telling you to eat this cereal, the child doesn't know the difference between the TV show and the cereal commercial, and they'll think, oh, well, yeah, as I just said, oh, well, I'm watching cartoons, and the cartoons say to eat this cereal, so I'm gonna eat this cereal. So that was the FCC's way of trying to let parents know, at least, or kids too, that, hey, you're watching an advertisement. You're not actually watching the show that you think you were watching earlier. You're watching an ad. And over the years, there's been very creative ways that marketers try to get influence over people and their spending habits and their eating habits. And it's like that slow push to take away your right to be healthy. You deserve to be healthy. That's why I say food that, like, it is our natural right or our natural inclination to eat. So it's not like, oh, let's not eat. We got to eat. But it's up to those marketers to convince us to eat certain things, right? I mean, you're going to eat something. They just want you to eat what they are making and at the price that they're selling it at, you know? And food that is the most healthy, it doesn't have a commercial. The food that's the very healthiest, they don't have commercials. Like, when was the last time you saw a commercial for a carrot? When was the last time you saw a commercial for, I don't know, a bag of beans? That's what I'm saying. So, now there are certain brands that do certain other things. Like, of course, there was even a campaign in the 80s and 90s about the Dairy Association. And let's see, I'm trying to think. Yeah, there was a dairy campaign, and this is in the United States. I can't speak for other countries. So they're trying to, beef up beef up sales of dairy milk and things like that. So it was all of these ads of like, got milk, right? So it was trying to convince people to drink more milk. But as we now know, milk is not necessarily healthy for everyone. Trying to think of anything else that may have come up. But what I'm trying to say is be mindful of what it is that you're out there being. Oh, hi, David. Be mindful about what's out there they're trying to sell you. And it is our right to be healthy. And if we're left to our own devices, I think in the end, without advertisers telling us what to eat or how to eat, I hate the word trend. I hate the word fad diet. I don't like those words, especially when there are medical protocols out there for healing purposes. Oh yeah, almond milk, yes, nut milk, yeah. So it's like there are certain companies that specialize in certain products, and I do understand that. But I guess what I was trying to say and give a little history on is that back in the 70s, they had to tell marketers to stop trying to brainwash children into eating certain things. And they had to announce when the show is like back after these regular messages, So if you recognize what I just said, that's the reason why the FCC had to force marketers to basically say, hey, we're trying to sell to your child. Okay. Trying to sell to your child. All right. And yeah, the fact that our right to be healthy has been kind of lured away from us really upsets me. And I see it when, people are going insane over certain food products. Like, I remember a few years ago, everybody was into that potato pie or sweet potato pie thing. And I love Patti LaBelle, for real, seriously, y'all. But things like that, or things like, I'm trying to remember the other thing. Oh yeah, Popeyes, the chicken sandwich thing. I was like, what's wrong with y'all? Are you okay? Are you okay out there? Those kinds of things that make people act outside of their better nature. That's where I have concerns. It's like, yeah. So I don't know. I'm at a loss for words at this point. So yeah, I just finished grocery shopping for my brother, and I don't like naming brands for a reason, because sometimes brands change their formulas on you, and that goes for anything really. And so I'm not brand loyal. I look at the ingredients. I teach people how to read the ingredients and know that, uh-oh, something's not right here. They changed the formula on you, because they'll do that in a hot second. They'll do that. Okay. Oh, the question was, okay, so I was buying coconut oil in the groceries. And the cashier, she asked me, she's like, do you use this on your face? I was like, I use it everywhere, honey. I use it on my face, my hair, inside. I eat it, put it in everything. Everything. Okay. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not brand loyal, because if I'm looking up the bottle and it says something other than coconut oil for which I bought it for, then I'm putting it back on the shelf. Okay. I read the labels. Okay. I've been reading labels since I was a little kid. Okay. So I read the labels. And I kind of also weigh out certain things when it comes to what I'm consuming. Like, I do an 80-20 lifestyle. Okay. Most of the food that I do eat, I recognize if I could see it in the wild and I know, like, oh, that's and then it looks like that on my plate, okay, I'm gonna eat it. I'm okay with it. Okay. I still consume flesh, not as much. Okay. I don't drink cow's milk. Let's see. I do every once in a while coconut milk when I do want a milky taste, I guess. I don't do almond milk but I'm not knocking anybody that has it, but I don't really drink nut milk a lot. And people ask me, what do I, drink? I drink a lot of water and tea. I make my own tea, as in, hot water and tea. I don't sweeten my teas. There's certain ones that you can have, it doesn't need sugar. It's like, and then you've been taught to crave sugar. That's another thing. I think I'll put my link, the article in this description here, that I'm trying to find okay, for lack of a better word, brain cells are not only in our brain, they reside in our stomach and in our heart. So neurons, we have neurons in our stomach. And oh yeah, so I don't drink a lot of, in fact, I can't even think the last time I had any kind of soda. It's like, ugh, you know yeah, we have neurons, brain cells in our stomach. And it was recently that I was listening to a podcast, and the podcaster was talking about a study that was done on sugar, and how even if they remove the ability to taste out of a person's, like, I don't know how they did it, but they did a study in an experiment on people who consume sugar, and it's not the taste, it's your brain's kind of, it is a fuel source. I'm not going to knock it. It is a carbohydrate. Sugar is a fuel source. But once your brain or neurons in your stomach get trained on having sugar as a fuel source, glucose, then it starts to crave it. And the article that I did, I'm going to pass along to my mom. And I'm trying to help my brother with when he's ready to read more. But right now, I'm in charge of buying his food right now, except for his snacks. So he still is out there. I don't know where he's getting stuff. But the sugar is the thing. The sugar is the thing that is causing so much damage to people. People think it's fat, but actually your brain, if you practice a certain protocol, and I'll mention that at the end of this video in probably like another minute or two, but if you practice certain protocols, it teaches your body to switch over to a different fuel source. But right now, if you live in the United States, you're basically trained on having sugar and simple carbohydrates. Okay? Start like easy to consume. So they put sugar in the condiments, they put sugar in the pasta, they put sugar in anything that they can put their hands on. And sugar has more than just the name sugar. Okay, so you got to be careful out there. One day, maybe I'll do a video on all, like, the more common names for sugar in food labels, because I think that's important too. Because even if you can't go whole foods, not the store, but eating whole foods, and you are resorted to eat certain other things, like, you can still look and say, this has sugar in it, and I don't know if I want to, consume that kind of thing. But yeah, sugar, our bodies have been trained on consuming sugar, and our stomachs are trained to crave sugar, and it's not helping the dome up here. If your stomach is saying sugar, 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 and your mind needs fat instead of sugar, you're being starved. Your brain is being starved. So you need healthy fats. Things like avocado, I know some people don't like the taste of avocado. Coconut oil, nuts. Uh, if you do consume animal flesh, uh, you can do animal fat, but also know, like, ask around. Go to a butcher versus, I don't know, grocery store or whatever, something random. Because I did see lard in the store today, and I'm not knocking lard. If I'll just say, if you are in an emergency case and you really do need something like that, I'm not gonna knock it. Like, lard, like, think about it. This lard is what your grandmas and your grandpas were eating, and they, I know my grandparents lived up until their 90s, 80s and 90s. Okay. But now the age, uh, I don't know, the age limit is dropped at least 20 years now, probably another 10, because of the food. And I'm not lying. Okay. So if you have to have lard over Crisco, please go get the lard. Go get the butter. I even saw, like I said, they're trying to disguise margarine in calling it plant. Don't be fooled. Get the butter, real butter. Okay, if you must do that. Okay, if you must do that. Yeah, and I consume chicken every once in a while, seafood. Um, if I did look at the salmon today. I felt something happened. My brother did something, made me a little mad, so I'm not buying any salmon right now. Uh, Maybe if you ask for it. But yeah, I did look seafood. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's definitely not ground beef. I will never eat ground beef from a grocery store. I will never eat bologna. I will never eat hot dogs. I will never, like, anything that's ground up and they calling it meat. I don't know. How many animals did it come from? So things like that, you really have to start questioning. If you think about the history of food in our country, in the United States, you'd be shocked. Okay? You would be mortified. I understand that there was a need for the FDA, US FDA. There was a need for it because people were putting sawdust in food and selling it. Okay? Times were hard. I get it, And but now I'm hoping more people are just a little more savvy, a little more mindful about what they're putting in their bodies, because it's bigger than you think. Like, there are correlations as I'm digging deeper to help my brother heal, between food, mental health, not just your body, like looking good or whatever, cuz he's still, he's working out. Like, he used to be a former athlete, so he does a lot of walking. He still goes and he says he lifts weights. I did go peek one day. I was like, yeah, he's doing it. I mean, he's doing it little by little, but he's doing it. But he also needs that food element too, the healthy food. It's like, you can't outlift a bad diet. Okay? A lot of people think they can. You cannot outlift, outweight train, outrun a bad diet. That, I mean, when your body is making like making itself, you need food and minerals in your body. So if you're eating like potted meat or God forbid like anything like that, that's not necessarily going to build your body up, okay? They're just making it so that your stomach stops growling for long enough for you to go to work. Okay. All right. So yeah, so there are protocols that I hate when they get to these like talk shows, these morning talk shows and stuff. I long since stopped watching those, and they're calling them fads. It's like the propaganda is so big. Back in the 40s, and I'm mentioning the keto protocol because now the research I'm finding, mental health can be healed. Some, not everything, some can be healed with the keto protocol. I didn't say diet, protocol. Because back in the 40s, and I said this in another video, I'll keep saying it if I have to keep saying it. Back in the 40s, they came up with this protocol to help children who suffered from epilepsy and seizures. And so they developed this protocol, and it was working, and it was helping kids have some relief and have, those kind of things. So now I'm finding that keto protocol is helping kids who have ADHD, kids with autism, and some mental illness. So there's some things happening out here. And I wish more people would talk about how food can help. It's not, look, and I'm not saying don't take the medicine. Food can help, though. It really can help, because I think we've been malnourished for so long as a society that this is what's happening. And I just turned down a news story about vaccines and autism, and I'm like, I think it's the food, y'all. I think it's the food. I think a lot of people have been malnourished for so long that this is what's happening. Now, I'm not saying, look, this is controversial. All right, so let me go before I get into more trouble. Let me unpack. I might come back on later. I am going to make my brother some smoothies. It's going to be plant-based a little bit. It's going to be half and half. Yes, I'm going to put dairy in it because he does still drink milk. But I'm also going to put some tofu in there because he needs the protein. That's another thing. Yeah, protein, but we also need the building blocks of protein, which is amino acids. And that's what I'm also adding into these smoothies. Okay? It's going to be a great experiment for next week. We'll see what happens. But I might come back on later today, or maybe not. I don't know. Or maybe tomorrow. Who knows? But we all deserve to be healthy. Like, sit with that. Think about that. Think about all the commercials that you might watch, or ads that you might see, or influencers that might tell you, oh, let's eat like this, or, that kind of thing. And they're trying to take away your choice when you got to eat. You got to eat food. But they're trying to tell you, oh, let's turn food into a fun hobby and eat fun food all the time. Let's eat this. Let's eat that. That kind of thing. And I'm not saying don't enjoy your food, but if they're trying to convince you to eat something with a commercial, should you really be eating it? Okay? Because if they had to tell these advertisers to announce that they're trying to sell to children cereals and things of that nature, candy, okay, you better believe that it might not be the best. Because now they're just doing it in different ways. So I challenge people to do that. Look into that. All right? With that, I say, take care.